Hello everyone, and welcome to the second episode of Viewers Go Scambaiting. Another scambait submitted by a viewer. I'll just say at this point that if you're a devout Christian or a devout follower of any other religion and stories of spirits might offend you, this might not be the video for you. This is the story of Andrew. "Hey Andrew," said my viewer, "do I know you?" "Hi, Cherie," said our man. "Hi," said my viewer, "do I know you?" "I'm from Whistler, Canada. I was going through some commentary when I unearthed your profile. I really admire the things you share here. I hope you don't mind us being friends." "Sure," said my viewer. "Where are you from?" he asked. "I'm from the US," she said. "Let me get back to you in about 10 minutes. "It's my pleasure meeting you. I live alone here in Canada, and it get boring a lot of time, 'cause I have no one to talk with. I'm a single father with a son, and to make sure he has no one to talk with, and my son is schooling in California. My wife passed away in 2015, and I get bored most time. I just need a friend I could talk to sometime." "Okay," he said, in reply to my viewer saying she'd get back to him in 10 minutes. "How is your family? Are you living with your husband? And your kids?" "I'm back," she said. "I'm sure you've found people to talk to over the years. Doing well, thanks." "I'm kind of an introvert," he said. "I don't go out most times. I only relate with my colleges and fellow workers. I have about 2 or 3 close friends. This is me. Can you send me a photo of you?" "Well, that's all you really need," replied my viewer. "I don't send pics on the internet." A man sent one of those stolen photographs of a man standing on a beach. "Okay," he said. "So how was your day? I hope that it wasn't too, guess what, stressful?" "Why would it be stressful?" asked my viewer, taking a leaf out of my book and not commenting on the photo, which, as you'll see in a moment, elicited the usual response. "Well, I'm a drilling engineer by profession. What about you? What kind of job do you do?" "I'm retired," said my viewer, "but still do some designing for close friends." "Where do you work? How do you manage being a drilling engineer and not going out much?" "I'm currently off from work," he said. "I work at Kinsale Head gas field in the Celtic Sea. So what kind of designing are you into?" "I'm a clothing designer." "Ooh, that's nice!" Followed by, "So how do I look on my photo?" "Because they hate it if you don't comment." "Sun-drenched and wind-blown," replied my viewer. Thanks anyway for the compliment," he said. "I'm sure you are also an angel in disguise." "Oh, how wrong you are," replied my viewer. "Really? Am I wrong?" he said. "I don't believe you saying I'm wrong, LOL. I feel your beauty even without seeing you. I can tell you are someone special. So are you married? Do you have children? How many kids do you have?" "For me, I have only one son." "Thank you," replied my viewer. "No. How old is your son?" "Okay, well, I'm 57 and my birthday is May the 15th. My son would be 18 by August the 21st, which is scammer talk, for my son is 17. And if the person that you're talking to says something like that, my son or daughter will be a certain age by, there's a fairly high chance you're talking to a scammer, because a real person would just say, my son is 17. He just started college. What about you? When is your birthday? My birthday is in May, replied my viewer. Wow! Replied the scammer. Really? So what day is it? 21st, said my viewer. Why do you ask? Wow! So you're also a taurine. Isn't that a health supplement? I just wanted to know about a friend, he said. Is that okay by you? Well, that doesn't tell you much about me, said my viewer. That's just one day out of 365. Really? Replied the scammer. That's the day you came into this world, and it's always great to celebrate that day. Even Jesus' birthday's celebrated up till today. So, tell me about yourself. What are your hobbies? I'm not Jesus, replied my viewer, and the day of someone's conception is different than the date of their actual birth. In her email, my viewer added a part in this may be confusing. An old Chinese belief is a person's life begins when they're conceived, not when they're born. I don't know if they still practice that, though, but it went right over his head. LOL. Designing is my hobby. What are yours? Well, for me, I love sports, specifically football. I also love watching movies and spending time with the people I love the most. So, what are you doing now, over there? How do you play sports? Being an introvert? Replied my viewer. Sports are social. I'm atop the house, riding the weather vane as it spins around, replied my viewer in true Channel style. What are you doing right now, over there? I actually enjoy watching football and not playing it, he said. I'm too old to play football, LOL. It's actually late. I tried sleeping, but I was unable to. The usual scammer excuse when they suddenly realise that it's the middle of the night in the country where they claim to be. So I'm just lying on my bed and chatting with you. I'm really happy to chat with you. You're the only I have talked to today, as I don't get much visits and calls. I see, replied my viewer. Don't you keep in contact with your son? I'm actually new here, he said, because, of course, our man had a lot of copying and pasting to do, and nothing was going to stop him, even if it was completely irrelevant. A colleague of mine actually informed me of this platform. He said I could get local news update here, so I joined this platform. But I don't come online here sometime. Once again, thanks for your friendship, and I really would love nothing more than having a friend like you, whom I could spend time and talk with and get to know more about. Please, is it okay by you if we could talk on WhatsApp? I really would love to keep up with our conversation, as I don't have anyone to talk with. Maybe we could talk on WhatsApp sometime. Is that okay by you? Here's my WhatsApp number. You can message me. Guess where? On WhatsApp. Yes, I do keep tabs with my son, he continued. We talk a couple of times weekly. I don't have WhatsApp, replied my viewer. So I'd be expecting your message. On WhatsApp, he said. You'll be waiting a long time, said my viewer. I don't have WhatsApp. Oh, really? Said our man. To which, of course, my viewer replied, yes, really. You come here for news updates. So you use MeWe too. Chatting here is no problem. Our man, of course, had a fixation and he wasn't going to let it go. You can get the WhatsApp application from your app store. WhatsApp is a free, fast and secure end-to-end conversion app. It's how I connect to my son. It's very easy and simple to use. Most people use it. You could get it from the App Store. It's free and easy. Can you just do that? In reply to my viewer, saying you come here for news updates, he said, yes, I do, but not often. And in reply to my viewer saying chatting here is no problem, he said, no, it isn't. It's just that I might not be active to see your message. Can you please help me get the, guess what, WhatsApp application so we could talk frequently over there? Please, it would cost you nothing to get it. You sound like an advertisement for WhatsApp, replied my viewer. No, I don't want to download that stuff on my phone. Okay, it's fine, said the scammer, finally getting the point. So do you only use MeWe as your messaging app? Or do you have another messaging app? Do you have Google Chat? Yes, replied my viewer. That's all that's necessary, so why do more? No, I don't have Google Chat. What's your problem with MeWe? Replied the scammer. Really? I have no problem with MeWe. It's just I don't come online most time, and I might not be able to reply your messages in time. Do you understand my point? That's not a problem, replied my viewer. I don't expect immediate replies. All right, said our disappointed scammer. So why are you not married? With kids? To which my viewer replied, I choose not to be. I'm happy. I would probably have smacked him round the mouth for being so cheeky. Oh, really? Replied our man. So do you plan on getting married in the future? No, replied my viewer, I'm happy. I have no desire to be some man's housekeeper. What happened that made you to decide on not getting married, he asked. Nothing, said my viewer, just don't want to. Never have wanted to. And in reply to my viewer, saying she had no desire to be some man's housekeeper, our man, of course, replied, wow! That's some strange perspective. No, replied my viewer, it's truthful. Most men expect women to cook, clean, wash their clothes and take care of them. I don't want that. The purpose of human creation is for love. And here you're saying you've never loved and never want to be loved. I love lots of people, said my viewer. You don't have to marry someone to love them. People procreate all the time. That doesn't mean I have to. I get your point, hun, said our man. How I miss my wife. I wish she was alive today. When you're married to someone who truly loves you, those things you say never exist. All that exists is happiness, comfort, and trust you have in your partner, knowing they got your back. So you're saying your wife didn't cook, clean, do laundry, take care of your son and you? I'm perfectly happy not being married. She did all that, replied our man, but I always ensure I assist her in every way I could, and I even do all that sometimes when I observe she needs rest. So you did not get married because you cannot do house chores for your family? But come to think of it, now that you're alone, don't you do these same chores you're talking about by yourself? You need to find the right partner, and if you don't find comfort and love in the relationship, and also find out you're missing something you can fill for a divorce, well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Probably best if I don't comment at this point. Which would be unusual, wouldn't it? Of course I do these things for myself, replied my viewer. Who doesn't? I just have no desire to be someone's slave. And why get married just to divorce? That's a weird way to view things. Why do you care if I marry or not? That's my decision, not yours. Our man launched in to another monologue on his favourite subject. I expect you can guess what it is, even if you haven't looked at the screen. All right, hun, it's your choice, your life, and your decision to make. I'm actually falling asleep now. We could talk in the morning. And one more thing, please try to download the WhatsApp application from the Play Store so we could talk more and get to know more about each other. Once you've downloaded it, you can send a message to my number, or send me your number so I could message you. Please do that. You sound really interesting, and I like you, and would love to talk more with you. If you can do that, I have a big surprise for you. Here's my number, so try to get the app and message me on WhatsApp. No, replied my viewer, I'm not going to download WhatsApp. I don't want it. Good night. A man sent a cartoon, but I have no idea who that's meant to be. Doubtless someone from a video game or something similar. Obviously, replied my viewer, you're not a very trustworthy friend. Goodbye. Hi, Cherie. Good morning, he said the next morning. How was your night? I hope that you slept well. Morning, replied my viewer. It's the middle of the night. I'm not entirely sure why my viewer was up, texting a scammer in the middle of the night. Probably best not to ask. What's the problem? He said, in reply to my viewer saying he was obviously not very trustworthy. I told you, I don't come online most time. How have you been? What's the problem? Replied my viewer. It's the middle of the night. What does that have to do with you texting me in the middle of the night? I didn't mean to offend you, he said. I just wanted to say hi. Do it at a civil time, instead of waking me up in the middle of the night, said my viewer. I always leave my phone downstairs, so that doesn't happen. Hi. Good night, she said. All right, please download, guess what? The WhatsApp application, so we could talk there, to which my viewer replied, no. Please, he said. Do you not understand? No, said my viewer. I don't want or need that on my phone. So how do you want us to keep communicating fluently? Asked the scammer. We've been communicating just fine here. Yes, we are, he said. I've been on a 2-week shift, and that was why. So, what's your point? Asked my viewer. You told me last night you were home. Yes, that's what I'm saying. I've had the chances of being online and have some time for myself because of the shift. But now that it's over, I have to work continually. You can work that one out, guys. And it would be very difficult for me to chat here all the time. WhatsApp won't make it any easier, replied my viewer. But it will be very easy for me to write you lovely messages to you on, you know where, WhatsApp, and always check up on you. I know, it seems weird to you. But, well, I know what is best for me, he said. I'm still not downloading WhatsApp, said my viewer, because we've been chatting for some time now, and I really like everything about you. What? Replied my viewer. We talked a little bit last night. How do you figure that's some time? And you know very little about me. You must be thinking of someone else. It's okay. I'm fine with whatever decision you make, replied our scammer, possibly getting the point at last. Good, replied my viewer. So, what are you doing now? He asked. Sticking lint ball to a sweater, replied my viewer. What are you doing now? It's about 5 a.m. here in Canada, he said. I'm in my bed. So, how old are you? You said you were at work, she replied. I would be resuming work. That's what I mean, he said, hastily. You know it was the middle of the night, but you messaged me anyway. That's rude as hell, replied my viewer. Either you're at work for 2 weeks, or you're not. Make up your mind. My leave is completed, and I would be resuming work today. To work for 2 weeks. You make no sense, replied my viewer. Why are you bullshitting me? I'm sorry about message you at this time, he said. I couldn't sleep, so I thought of talking with someone, and I came online and saw your message, and I decided to reply it. I didn't mean to offend you. I'm sorry if I have. I work 2 weeks on duty and 2 weeks off duty, he said, in reply to my viewer telling him he wasn't making sense. I seriously doubt anyone you call in the middle of the night would be happy about that, said my viewer. I didn't know you were online, he said. I messaged you, and you replied. OK, good night. I'd talk with you in the morning. I wasn't online, said my viewer. I was sleeping. Good night. OK, good night. Sleep well. Are you busy? Asked my viewer the next day. No, hun, I'm preparing for breakfast, so tell me, what are your plans for the future? My viewer had an answer for that. I'm preparing everything so we can go and collect the bones for a ritual. What are you having for breakfast? Fried egg and bread, he said. I've been through, you know this one, guys, a lot as a man, and have conquered much opposition in life as well, and would love to meet someone who'll understand how being hurt feels, and would love to find an honest relationship. I want the love that's been locked in my heart for so long to be unlocked by that special lady. I wish you luck, replied my viewer. Life is special, and you know this one as well. And my viewer has finally done it for me! Yippee! Go on, guys, give her a round of applause. Life is special, and I like to wake up feeling excited of what the new day brings, even if that means bouncing off the planets. To which my viewer replied, Do you bounce off Uranus? Imagine, replied our man, because he was halfway through copying and pasting, and nothing was going to interrupt him. Opening your eyes each and every morning and smiling at the thought that this new day is completely different and brings new excitement, and that the person you're with feels exactly the same way. I'm an optimist who believes that everything happens for a good reason, and you never know what destiny has for you and someone together. Good for you, replied my viewer. Why are you telling me this? I'm looking for a lady who's ready for a serious relationship that can lead to marriage. A sincere, honest, caring, understanding and loving lady to spend the rest of my life with. Well, I want to love and to be loved. What about you, dear? I hope you find her, replied my viewer. So what are your plans for the future? Do you plan on settling down again? What do you mean again? Replied my viewer. I've never been married, and I'm already settled down. I'm not a teenager. My plans for the future consist of getting the others together and going to the graveyard within the next couple of days. What others are you getting together? He asked. A couple of friends, and the spirits, said my viewer. I can't collect the bones without the guidance of the spirits. Sincerely, said our panicking scammer. I don't understand what you mean. To do some of the rituals, replied my viewer. I have to have the spirits guide me to the graves of the accepting deceased. I can't do it without them. Is it your job to collect bones, or are you a member of an occultic group? He asked. It's not the occult, replied my viewer. It's completely different. I work with accepting spirits. So what religion are you? He asked. None, said my viewer. To which our man replied, Really? And obviously my viewer replied, Yes, really. The spirits help me with tasks, and the ones I release from their graves usually join us. Well, I'm a Christian, he said, and I don't get involved in ritual practices, so don't get me involved. OK, he said, panicking. Can you send me a photo of you? You don't live anywhere near me, replied my viewer, so how could you get involved? I don't send pics on the internet. If you're Christian, surely you believe in spirits. All I know is good, and I don't like worldly rituals, because you'd end up giving rituals to foul spirits and end up in one form of misery, he said. That's why I have spirits that help me, replied my viewer. You never mess with spirits that don't want to be disturbed, but they do anger if you push them off. LOL, she said. You're in contact with a foul spirit, said our scammer, panicking. The spirit of the Lord is light. His way is love and peace, and not anger or hate. Be careful that you may not end up being tricked by the spirit you come in contact with. What is the name of the spirit? I know what I'm doing, replied my viewer, so please don't lecture me about something you don't know. What is the name of the spirit you come in contact with? He asked again. I have several spirits in contact with me, she said. Their names are of no importance to you. Okay, I'm a son of the living God, he said. Good, replied my viewer. Do you know what that makes me? He asked. We're all God's creation, replied my viewer. Some people are born with special abilities, gifts from God. I use my gift I was given. Did you leave? There was a woman, he said. She was prayerful and always seeks Jesus' intervention in her life. She prays daily that she wants to see Jesus. Then one day, while she was praying, her prayers were answered, and from that moment she saw the Spirit of Jesus, and she began to perform great wonders people could not imagine. She did these wonders with the power of the Spirit she came across, thinking it was Jesus. Then came a day she approached a wise man by incident, and they communicated, and she told him of her encounter with Jesus, and the wise man advised her that spirits have existed since the days of fallen angels, and they're gifted with tricks in which they lure men to sin and destruction. Then the man told her that she might be in contact with a foul spirit rather than Jesus. But she disagreed instantly because she was filled with powers she knew not the sources of, nor the consequences of. Then the wise man, being wise, said to her, Go to the spirit and encounter with him. Then ask him, Are you Jesus Christ, the Son of the living God, who died for my sin on the cross of Calvary? A very simple question. That's my line, pal. And she believed so much that she was in contact with Jesus, and she said, okay, she would do it. And then she approached the spirit and asked it, saying, Are you Jesus Christ, the Son of the living God, who died for me on the cross of Calvary? Not knowing to her, in the name of Jesus, all knees, principalities, and powers must bow. As soon as the spirit heard the name, he was vanquished, and in his distraction he calls the woman blind as exchange for the powers she was given by him, and the woman became blind for the rest of her life. Key points, just in case you haven't been following. I'm only reading what it says on the screen. The woman became blind because of her encounter with unholy spirit, and it is only unholy spirit that fail to reveal themselves when they come to you. Once the spirit of good is in you, it would bring instant confidence in you and tell you its purpose. I do not know the spirits in you, so I have to ask to know who I am talking with. I have no business with foul spirits. So what spirits do you come in contact with? Are they of good or of the dead? Are they spirits of the dead? The spirits, replied my viewer, are not what you're talking about, and your story is interesting, but you never make deals with spirits. Only evil does that. And only evil would claim to be Jesus like that. Also, you never contact spirits you don't know. So what, or whose spirit, are you contacting? He asked, wishing he'd never made contact with my viewer in the first place. I know them, she replied. That's my question, he said. Who are they? Their names are of no importance to you. I'm sorry, he said. There, I don't think we can keep communicating. I'm a Christian, and I cannot be friends with an idol worshipper. I'm just sorry. Bye! I don't worship idols, replied my viewer, but goodbye. My last message to you, said the scammer. The dead has no contact with the living. If you think you're contacting the dead, you're just contacting another spirit, using the face of the dead. So be care, though, ye, the path you tread, that you may not be led to darkness and destruction. Be careful. Goodbye. Don't speak of something you obviously know nothing about, replied my viewer. Goodbye. Be careful, the path you tread, that's my advice to you. Think about it, that's what a wise person does. I know what I'm doing, replied my viewer. I worship God, I don't play on the dark side. At which point, apparently, a rather freaked scammer disappeared. I hope you enjoyed this spiritual tale submitted by a viewer. If you have a scam baiting story that you'd like to send to me so that I can make a video for you, please email it to help@keepsafeonthenet.co.uk. The address is in the description box below. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like it, please share it, please comment down below, please subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you again in another video.